GRE Verbal reasoning includes a category of argument-based passages that test logical structure rather than reading comprehension. These passages are short and present a claim with evidence. Every question tests your ability to identify the logical relationship between the parts of the argument. This lesson is the foundation for everything that follows in argument analysis. Students who read argument passages the way they read regular text focus on content and miss structure. GRE argument questions do not ask what the passage says. They ask how the argument is built. What is the conclusion? What evidence supports it? What does the argument assume? Switching to structural reading is the single most impactful change you can make for argument-based questions. 4 question types appear on argument passages: identify the assumption, strengthen the argument, weaken the argument, and identify the role of a specific sentence. All 4 require the same foundational skill: understanding the 3 elements of an argument. Once you can identify premise, conclusion, and assumption reliably, all 4 question types become systematic processes rather than guesses. Every argument has 3 elements. The conclusion is the main claim the argument is trying to establish. The premises are the stated facts or evidence supporting the conclusion. The assumption is the unstated premise the argument requires to be logically valid. In the example, sales rose after the ad campaign is the premise. The campaign caused the increase is the conclusion. The assumption is that nothing else caused the sales to rise during that period. The assumption connects the premises to the conclusion. It is what the argument takes for granted without stating. The negation test is the most reliable method for identifying assumptions. Negate the candidate answer choice and ask whether the argument still works. If the argument breaks when the assumption is negated, you have found it. In the example, negate the assumption to another factor caused the increase. Now the campaign cannot be credited. The argument breaks. Correct assumption. The first step in approaching any argument question is to read for structure before reading for content. Identify the conclusion first. Look for signal words: therefore, thus, hence, so, consequently, as a result. What follows these words is typically the conclusion. Then identify the premises. Look for because, since, given that, as evidenced by. These signal words identify the evidence. Everything else is context or elaboration. Conclusion signal words: therefore, thus, hence, so, consequently, as a result. Premise signal words: because, since, given that, as evidenced by, due to. Once you have identified the conclusion and premises, the assumption is the logical gap between them. Ask, what must be true for the premises to support this conclusion? That is the assumption. This 3-step process works for every argument question on the GRE. Your argument analysis checklist: read for structure, not content. Identify conclusion using signal words. Identify premises using signal words. Assumption is the unstated connection. Negation test confirms the assumption. Next lesson: strengthening and weakening arguments, the 2 most common argument question types. Subscribe for Thursday. Comment your target verbal score below.